In the shadowed canyons and sun-scorched deserts, Apache warriors struck like ghosts, defying the might of the U.S. Army for decades. A buried talisman whispers of a vow unbroken. How did a small tribe outwit an empire? Join Frontier Chronicles to unravel the saga of Apache resistance, where cunning, mystic power, and unyielding spirit forged a legend that still haunts the Southwest. Hey folks, welcome to Frontier Chronicles, broadcasting from the sun-scorched deserts and jagged peaks of the Southwest, where Apache warriors defied the might of the U.S. Army for decades, earning a fearsome reputation as an unconquerable force, per D. Brown's Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. I'm Jake Harlan, and today we're diving into why the Apache, masters of guerrilla warfare and wielders of mystic power, stood unbowed against America's westward expansion in the 19th century. Their raids and resilience shook an empire, per C. Gwyn's Empire of the Summer Moon. A buried talisman will spark questions. Let's stalk the rise of Apache defiance. In the early 1800s, Apache bands like the Chiricahua, Mescalero, and Lapon roamed from Arizona to Texas, blending nomadic hunting with small-scale farming, per Gwyn. Their rugged homeland, canyons, mountains, and deserts, became a natural fortress, perfect for ambushes, per historical records. When the U.S. took the Southwest from Mexico after the 1848 Mexican-American War, Apache bands faced miners, settlers, and soldiers flooding their lands, per Brown. Unlike other tribes, the Apache didn't negotiate or surrender, they struck, raiding settlements and supply lines with terrifying precision, often at night, per ethnographic accounts. By the 1850s, their attacks cost the U.S. Army thousands of lives and millions in resources, per historical records. Apache warriors, led by chiefs like Mongas Coloradas, used hit-and-run tactics, vanishing into terrain where cavalry couldn't follow, per Gwyn. Their knowledge of every spring and cave made them ghosts to American troops, per Brown. In 1855, a prospector near Tucson found a stone amulet, etched with Star's Wrath. Uncovered in 1900, it was dismissed as a trinket, but Apache elders claimed it marked a vow, the land fights with us, per oral histories from Keith Basso's Western Apache Witchcraft. Their defiance, fueled by both skill and spirit, baffled the U.S. Why could Apache resist America's might? What did that amulet guard? Whose wrath burned the desert? Hey folks, Jake Harlan back with Frontier Chronicles, broadcasting from the jagged cliffs and sun-scorched deserts where Apache warriors struck terror into the heart of the U.S. Army. Last time, we saw the Apache, Chiricahua, Mescalero, Lapon, rise as an unconquerable force in the 1800s, their raids bleeding American settlers and soldiers dry, per D. Brown's Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Their mastery of the Southwest's terrain made them ghosts to their enemies, per C. Gwyn's Empire of the Summer Moon. Today, we dive into their guerrilla tactics, night raids, canyon traps, and the leadership of chiefs like Cochise that defied America's might. A lost battlefield will spark questions. Let's stalk their defiance. By the 1850s, the Apache faced relentless U.S. expansion after the Mexican-American War, with settlers and soldiers flooding Arizona and New Mexico, per Brown. Apache bands, led by figures like Cochise of the Chiricahua, turned the Southwest's rugged landscape into a weapon. Unlike Comanche's open plains cavalry, Apache fought dismounted, using canyons and mountains for ambushes, per Gwyn. Their night raids struck mining camps and wagon trains, killing dozens and stealing supplies before vanishing, per historical records. A single raid in 1859 near Tucson left 20 settlers dead and 100 horses gone, per ethnographic accounts. Apache warriors, often fewer than 50, could outmaneuver 200 soldiers, exploiting their knowledge of hidden springs and trails, per Brown. Cochise, a towering figure, led with cunning. After the 1861 Bascom affair, where U.S. troops falsely accused him of kidnapping and imprisoned his family, Cochise unleashed a decade of vengeance, per Gwyn. His raids targeted forts and stagecoaches, costing the army thousands, per historical records. In 1862, near Apache Pass, Spanish scouts found a bloodied canyon with U.S. and Apache dead, marked by a spear etched with Moon's Vengeance. Uncovered in 1915, it was dismissed as a relic, but Apache elders claimed it honored Cochise's trap that killed 60 soldiers, per oral histories from Keith Basso's Western Apache witchcraft. A Chiricahua elder, Shadow Blade, said, "The night is our shield." How did Apache's tactics baffle the U.S. Army? What did that spear avenge? Whose shield haunted the desert? Hey folks, Jake Harlan back with Frontier Chronicles, broadcasting from the starlit peaks and shadowed canyons where Apache warriors wielded not just weapons but mystic powers that haunted the U.S. Army. Last time, we saw their guerrilla genius, night raids and canyon traps led by Cochise, that left American forces reeling, per D. Brown's "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee." Their terrain mastery made them ghosts, but their spiritual strength, rooted in sacred rituals, made them legends, per S.C. Gwynn's Empire of the Summer Moon. Today, we explore the supernatural aura of Apache leaders like Lozen and Geronimo, whose powers struck fear into American hearts. A forgotten prophecy will spark questions. Let's delve into their mystic defiance. Apache culture revered power, a divine gift from Lozen, their creator, granted through visions on sacred mountains, per Keith Basso's Western Apache witchcraft. Medicine men and chiefs, like Lozen and Geronimo, claimed abilities to heal, foresee danger, or control nature, per ethnographic accounts. Lozen, a Chiricahua warrior woman, could locate enemies by praying to Lozen, her palms tingling to reveal their distance, per oral histories. In 1879, she guided her band past U.S. troops near the Rio Grande, saving dozens, per Brown. Geronimo, after losing his family to Mexican soldiers, claimed powers to summon rain or evade bullets, per Gwynn. In 1884, pursued in the Sierra Madre, he sang for rain, and a storm erased his tracks, baffling trackers, per historical records. These stories, whether true or legend, unnerved American soldiers. Troops whispered of Apache witches who vanished into caves or slowed time, per Basso. This psychological edge amplified Apache raids, making soldiers hesitate in pursuit, per Brown. In 1865, near Fort Apache, a U.S. scout found a charred eagle feather, etched with "Sky's Oath." Uncovered in 1920, it was dismissed as ceremonial, but Apache elders claimed it sealed a prophecy, "The stars guard our fight," per oral histories. This belief fueled their resistance, making them seem invincible. How did Apache's mystic aura break U.S. morale? What did that prophecy foretell? Whose oath defied the empire? Hey folks, Jake Harlan back with Frontier Chronicles, broadcasting from the windswept deserts and treacherous canyons where Apache warriors outwitted the U.S. Army's relentless campaigns. Last time, we explored the mystic powers of Lozen and Geronimo, their supernatural aura shattering American morale, per D. Brown's "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee." Their night raids and spiritual defiance made them legends, per S.C. Gwynn's Empire of the Summer Moon. Today, we dive into America's desperate attempts to crush the Apache, led by General George Crook, and the Apache's unyielding resistance in unforgiving terrain. A war-torn relic will spark questions. Let's chase the hunted. By the 1870s, the U.S. Army, frustrated by Apache raids that killed hundreds and cost millions, deployed General Crook, a seasoned Indian fighter, to Arizona, per Brown. Crook's strategy used Apache scouts, mules, and relentless pursuits to track bands like the Chiricahua into their strongholds, per historical records. His 1872-73 Tonto Basin campaign aimed to starve Apache bands by destroying their camps and food stores, per Gwynn. Yet, Apache warriors, led by figures like Geronimo, countered with guerrilla brilliance, ambushing from cliffs, vanishing into caves, and surviving on sparse desert resources like cacti and roots, per ethnographic accounts. A single raid in 1871 near Fort Grant left 30 soldiers dead, with no Apache losses, per Brown. Crook's campaigns forced some Apache onto reservations, but Geronimo and others repeatedly escaped, striking settlements and eluding thousands of troops across Arizona and Mexico, per Gwynn. Their knowledge of terrain, every hidden spring and pass, made pursuit futile, per historical records. In 1873, near the Dragoon Mountains, a U.S. patrol found a shattered arrow, carved with "Stone's Cry." Uncovered in 1928, it was dismissed as debris, but Apache elders claimed it marked a battle where Geronimo's band lured and trapped 50 soldiers, per oral histories from Keith Basso's Western Apache witchcraft. A Mescalero elder, Iron Foot, said, "The rocks hide our blades." How did Apache survive America's onslaught? What did that arrow mourn? Whose cry echoed in the mountains? Hey folks, Jake Harlan here, closing out our saga with frontier chronicles from the sun-bleached deserts and starlit peaks where Apache warriors defied the U.S. Army's might for decades. We've tracked their resistance, guerrilla raids led by Cochise, mystic powers of Lozen and Geronimo, and survival against Tenrel Crook's relentless campaigns, per D. Brown's Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Their cunning and resilience made them a terror to an empire, per S. C. Gwynn's Empire of the Summer Moon. Today, we reflect on the Apache's unconquered spirit, their enduring legacy, and the lessons of their fight. A cursed relic will haunt you, let's face the echoes of their defiance. The Apache's resistance outlasted most native nations. By the 1880s, while Comanche and others were confined to reservations, Apache bands like the Chiricahua, led by Geronimo, continued hit-and-run raids across Arizona and Mexico, per Brown. Even after Geronimo's 1886 surrender, Apache spirit endured in their descendants, who preserved traditions despite forced assimilation, per ethnographic accounts. Their survival in harsh deserts, living off cacti and hidden springs, showcased a resilience that baffled the U.S. Army, costing thousands of lives and millions in resources, per Gwynn. Apache tactics, blending stealth, terrain mastery, and spiritual belief, made them seem invincible, per Keith Basso's Western Apache witchcraft. Their legacy lives in stories of defiance, inspiring modern native movements, per recent studies. In 1887, near Fort Sill, a U.S. soldier found a tattered buckskin pouch, etched with Wynn's curse. Uncovered in 1930, it was dismissed as a trinket, but Apache elders claimed it sealed a vow, "Our spirit haunts the conquerors," per oral histories. In 2025, Apache communities honor this legacy, teaching resilience and cultural pride, per native scholarship. Their war, bloodier than many, reshaped the Southwest, proving no empire could fully break them. Who truly conquered, the Apache or the U.S.? What does that curse still whisper? Whose spirit endures in the desert? Drop your thoughts below, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for more Frontier Chronicles.